What's up, everyone? I'm Jared Harris, and this is episode 35 of Beats by Jared. Today, I am very excited to be joined by a very good friend of mine here to discuss their new EP. High Noon is the guitarist and singer of the Jailbirds, Myke Penney. Myke Penney. Formed in 2015, the power trio consists of Penney, bassist Liam Hills, and drummer Kevin Costa. The band made their truly impressive debut with the incendiary Black River, a 4-song EP released in 2019, and their follow-up, The Jungle, would come in 2021. Known for their riffs and hard-hitting style, the Jailbirds stand as not only as one of Toronto's most leading bands, but also one of their most exciting bands. Myke, thank you for joining me today on Beats by Jer, and congrats on the new album, High Noon.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me here.
So let's talk about the band a bit. Let's talk about what it took for you guys to get here, right? This is your third record, which is more than a lot of independent bands get to say, right? So let's fill in those blanks on that bio. Tell me about the Jailbirds.
Well, Liam and I started the band in high school. So it's been, we officially made Jailbirds into a thing in 2015, like you said. But we've been playing together for 12 years, 13 years now at this point. Would have been grade 11, which was 2011. So 13 years we've been playing music together, and we had a different band before with some high school friends, and we would jam in our drummer's basement. His name was Evan, and Brandon was our other buddy who was, we're all still good friends. We just had a barbecue the other week, actually. But you know, we keep in touch. But we started it there, and it sort of morphed a whole bunch of different ways in terms of the sound and the members and everything we were doing. And so we just decided to come up with a new name for it and everything, and kind of set the stone that way, if you will. And Liam actually came up with the name in a dream, which is funny. He was like, I don't know what he was smoking, but it was he was sleeping there, and he had his notepad beside the bed, because we were like, it was a moment where all of us were trying to think of names. We had lists and stuff, and so he was asleep, and he dreamed us in an old like Western time, like 1800s or something, and we all robbed a train, and we got caught and thrown in jail. And the warden came by and went to the guard, and he was like, "That's the Jailbirds over there." And then he woke up and he was like, "Oh my God!" And he wrote it down, and he circled it a bunch of times apparently. And then we picked that name because
that's a fantastic story.
It's a cool story, and that's partly why we picked the name, because we're like, we're not going to have another name with a story like this, so you kind of need that. And then I just remember this now actually, but funny enough, the second favorite name was High Noon, which was a band name
and
that we thought
really
of.
goes with the whole Western vibe, right?
Yeah,
it sounds so cowboy.
Because especially back then, like we have like a multiple different sounds or whatever that we like to do, a mixed bag sort of release, if you will. Like we don't sort of stick to one box, but at the time we sort of were like super classic rock, like, you know, almost throwback, full out. And so that's where those names came from or whatever. But then it kind of morphed, and we felt Jailbirds had a better scope on what we were trying to do, because like we had all these demos that were sort of just like similar to like Your Love or something, or Tokyo Smoke. But then we had all these other songs like Sludge and Our Time and Take Me Away and stuff like that. Those are just examples. We didn't have necessarily those songs back then, but the sound changed so much that we were like, High Noon doesn't really fit for the band name. So, but we kept it in the back pocket until now. And through that we've had a lot of different, you know, members come and go before that first EP even, it took a long time to get this EP out. Actually, we recorded it quite a while ago at the same time as Jungle, did it in the same sessions, and here we are.
Was the intention with High Noon and Jungle being recorded around the same time, was the intention ever to do a full-length album?
No. Our plan was 2 EPs, for sure. It was based on a licensing deal that we had, and so we needed to just deliver a certain amount of songs. Sort of get boring, but that's how it works. And you know, you don't want to,
if we have to,
you know what I mean? It's like we didn't want to like overdo it or something and do too much, because like at the same time nowadays, it's for an independent band, it feels like it feels like singles are the way to go, you know what I mean? Even for bigger bands too. But like an album, we felt like it might have gotten a little bit lost, so we would prefer to.
It's hard to get the full like life cycle out of an album, whereas an EP is a lot more manageable to do that.
Exactly, especially with our resources being an independent band, it felt a lot safer for us to commit to doing a smaller collection of songs, and rather than having some of our songs that we worked so hard on just kind of be thrown out there, you know what I mean? So we wanted to really plan that accordingly. So we did.
Cool. Yeah, I listened to all 3 of your records this morning at the gym, and like I was going from The Jungle to High Noon.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that they were done around the same time, because they sound like totally different like phases for the band.
It's wild how that happened. I agree with you, actually. I was doing the same thing, like kind of comparing them a bit. And I love all of our EPs, but it's funny how that, even though they were from the same time, like we recorded them late 2019, so just about 5 years ago now, and we finished them early 2020 before everything shut down or whatever, and we couldn't go back to the studio. But we had all the guitars done and all the bass and everything, so I ended up doing vocals at home in my studio, and that's where we went with that. And I don't know why it worked out like that, honestly. It just sort of, I guess the songs we chose just happened to work like that. And I think we've gotten a bit better with like lyrics, and like I've worked really hard on my vocals over the past few years too, so I feel like there's a different level of maturity there for us. But the guitars are all the same. It's all the same moment where it was captured, so it was really interesting.
That's really cool.
Now
on your press kit, it says that you guys have supported Rival Sons, Monster Truck, and July Talk live. Can we take a moment to sidestep towards those shows? What was that like? How did those come about?
We did the Rival Sons one was this old festival that's no longer a thing. I can't even remember the name of it now, of course. It was like a 1 year, happened once. It was actually a college friend of ours who was a teacher, Greg, I think his name was, and drawing a blank on most of this right now. But the festival was like in a speedway or something, like a NASCAR, like a racetrack. That's the word I'm looking for. And it was sick. It was Headstones too, and there was a bunch of bands. I Mother Earth as well. And we happened to be on the same stage as the other bands there, so that was an unreal experience. Rival Sons became one of our favorite bands at that time. Liam especially, he's like a huge fan of Rival Sons.
So I mean,
they're so good.
Got into them because of you.
Yeah.
When we were making the last record together,
you
played me some Rival Sons, and I was like, "Is this Jailbirds?" And you're like, "No."
I wish.
Pretty much, but like, love that band so much. Yeah, they're incredible.
They're so good. I just saw them actually with Clutch there in Niagara Falls, and they just always deliver, man. It's so good. I love Miley, their drummer especially. Just the way he plays. I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's like he's dancing or something.
A little bit, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the movements he makes. I love watching him do it, and it's so simple. And then he pulls out the hard stuff every once in a while, right? And I love that, where he's almost like Ringoing it. You know what I mean? It's just serving
Not
the song.
Not flashy until he is.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be, but you know he can do it. And then it's like, when is he going to do it?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah, he's obviously the best. And it's so awesome. The whole band, I mean, huge inspiration for us for sure, because they're definitely heavy hitters in today's industry. And same with Monster Truck too. That was a dream come true for us. We literally had we played 2 shows with them
last year. Oh, okay.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, we did Opera House in Toronto and Maxwell's in Waterloo, Ontario, and that was crazy. I remember actually in our old jam space we had some goals written on our whiteboard, right? And one of them was to open for Monster Truck, and so that was kind of cool to check that off the list. Years and years later, but that's because I know John really well. I play in another band with him and stuff, so he was like, "Yeah, just come open the shows," and it was like, yeah, "Okay, cool, sounds good."
Not like we've been wanting to do this forever.
Yeah, no big deal. It was good. It was really cool. They were really great to us, and the response from everybody was awesome. And I was saying for a while, I mean, our music would just go so well together. So I mean,
100%.
It's a good pairing, I thought.
You guys, Monster Truck, Rival Sons, that whole sort of like classic rock inspired, but still very modern feeling.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one thing we really try to do with our sound is like, obviously we have a lot of throwback, nostalgic vibes, right? But how do we present that with a band that's modern? You know what I mean? Because we're not a band from the 70s.
No.
So it
And
doesn't, it wouldn't.
a lot of bands that try to sound that way.
Yeah.
Like they have probably a couple songs that I'm like, whoa. And then you're kind of like, okay, I have heard this before. That's a cool riff. Like check out that solo, the vocalist, and then you listen to the album, and you're like, okay, yeah, but I'd rather listen to Aerosmith or one of those bands, right?
Yeah, it just makes it like almost like it wasn't really authentic for us because we just were like, we're not from the 70s. Why would it sound like that?
Yeah.
You know, it's got to have that modern low end, and it's got to have that's mainly what it is, the low end, because like back then it was records and stuff, so it would pop the needle out, right? They couldn't do it. That was the main thing, is how do we sort of blend it all together and make it sort of a modern thing. And it's you just sort of record it how you just do it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. You don't, it's almost like you would try harder to go back and like, oh, well, maybe we'll use tape and maybe we'll do all these other things they used to do. Who cares what they used to do? It doesn't really matter. What do we do now? You know, that's how we've always felt about it.
Who has the budget for tape these days?
Yeah, we tried that stuff, man.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, it didn't, for our sound, it just didn't really complement it. It just really, we ran the drums through it at first and we were just like, oh, like, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different and stuff, but especially nowadays too, I personally think if you're going for that flavor and you don't want to spend, you know, an extra however much money, you could probably just throw an excellent emulation on it and get that vibe, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's so close now, you know, it's pretty crazy if you really want that vibe. But it changes how it all reacts and stuff, and it did make it sound old school, which just didn't really go with what we were doing. So we scrapped that.
Yeah.
Wasted money on that reel.
So High Noon, right? On paper, on release, started in 2022 with the release of Sludge.
Yep.
This was one of those songs. I remember you sending it to me before that. I think it was a demo. Maybe it was kind of complete, and I was just totally blown away.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man.
It was just one of those songs that I was like, I need them to actually drop this one. But, you know, we were talking before we started rolling, and you were saying that this album comes from a lot earlier than that. Why don't we shift gears? Let's look at High Noon and the road that came to be.
Sure. Yeah. Sludge was actually a working title too. That's the first thing I always remember about that song, is it was like we just demoed it and call it Sludge because it sounded sludgy.
So slimy.
Yeah. And then that kind of like, it's got that Soundgarden-y kind of vibe to it, you know, that riff and everything, and it's like a mix of that and Alice in Chains or something else, right? And it just has an anger to it or something, and then I couldn't think of a better title, honestly. It was like, yeah, that's perfect. It's great. And it kind of then made the lyrics and stuff, wrote it about, you know, sort of toxic relationships and navigating that whole space of life and stuff like that, and dealing with that crap, if you will. And yeah, I love that song. It's one of the it's very dynamic, which I like a lot. The guitars drop out and come back in and stuff, and it's like at the bottom of my range too for the verse. Like it's just like as low as it goes, pretty much there, with that low octave, I mean. And so it's cool. It's kind of goes, and it's the first sort of one. I'm really big about like building songs like a staircase to the chorus, but this one just worked out where the pre-chorus actually, like the vocals are higher, right? So it was like, and at first I was like, oh, I don't know about that, but it works really well for some reason. I don't know why. It just sort of like starts low and then goes high, and then it's in the middle for the chorus, right? So usually I do the opposite of that, but it worked for this track. Yeah,
it's a fantastic one. So Sludge comes out in 2022.
Yeah,
right. All of these songs were recorded in 2019, 2020.
Yeah, early 2020.
Why the amount of time between Sludge and High Noon? Why is there this almost 3-year gap?
Yeah, we went through a lot of changes within the band, trying to figure out what was sort of right for us. And like I said, we put a lot of work into these songs, so we didn't really want to just like put them out there for no reason and just like sort of piss them to the wind or whatever, right? And just like, so we really focused on, we tried different DSPs, we tried all these different things, and just it was an experimentation thing pretty much, because yeah, we just didn't really feel like just putting it out just for the sake of it. And then we kind of regrouped in a way, and you know, tried out different things. That was the reason why. I hated it, honestly. It was like, I want to put these out, but at the end of the day, it didn't make sense to do that. It was we needed to find the right time, and we hadn't even found Kevin yet, our drummer. You know, he's relatively new to the band, and it's been coming up on 2 or 3 years now. I can't even remember. Feels like forever, honestly. He's a great fit, and
I was about to say, like, it's got to be more than 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's maximum 3, because it was like December-ish that I was texting him. It must have been like the beginning of 2021. Must have been that.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the end of 2021. But December-ish 2021, I think, was when I started texting Kevin, because we were trying to look for a drummer. Jeff, our buddy Jeff Cox, drummed on the
Fantastic
EP.
drummer.
He's amazing, and he was just helping us out. He had commitments with other bands, and he couldn't, fully commit to the Jailbirds or anything, which is fine, of course. And so he was just helping us out, being a good dude, and recorded on it and stuff, and played some gigs. And it was actually through him that I found Kevin. It was he went to a show at the Horseshoe, and it was the Crooked, I think, the band playing, which unfortunately are no more.
Yeah, another great band.
Yeah, wicked band, and very, very good. And
Did Kevin play for them?
He played for them. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he played on the records, but he played live.
Dell was
their drummer.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess he had left, or at this show maybe he wasn't available. I don't know. Maybe they just called him in for that one gig. I have no idea.
Cool.
But Jeff was in the front-ish row of that show and kind of was filming. And I was like, oh my God, who's drumming? Like, this is really great. And I couldn't see him or anything, and there was no tags. I was like, shit, so I got to go find it. And I somehow found him. I don't know how I did it. I just sort of like poked around Instagram until I found out who was behind the kit for that. And then I just reached out, and he liked our music, and we jammed. And the first thing we jammed was actually a Monster Truck song, Seven Seas Blues. We were just like, I don't know what to jam. Let's just play this. And then we kind of looked at each other and we're like, yeah, this is going to work. So it was cool. Yeah, it was a great vibe from the start, pretty much. And we actually used Kevin's parents' basement for a jam space for a long time. So kudos to them. They're amazing. They were super nice to us, and still are, of course. Yeah, can't thank them enough. Ingrid and Manny. Yeah.
Nice. So Sludge comes out 2022. We've got this sort of series of singles that follows. In the middle of all of it is a cover of Deep Purple's Highway Star.
Yeah.
Where does that one come from?
Yeah, we did that at the same time as all those other songs.
Same time, yeah.
Yeah, all the same time. We had another song that we did that we just sort of canned it halfway through recording. And like, fuck it. But I don't even remember what it was. It was another cover song. But we had played Highway Star so much live at the time. Sometimes we still do. But it sort of became our thing, and so we just thought while we're there, might as well track it. We were just able to just bang it out, so it was ready to go. So we were like, why not? Yeah, that's just a fun one. We want to dip more into covers as well coming into 2025. We got some more that we've learned and stuff, started to record and stuff. So it should be fun. Covers are always fun.
Tons of fun, absolutely.
I just love doing them, and it's just
the song's great. It's gonna be great, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you put your own spin on it a little bit and sort of tip your hat to your favorite bands or whatever. Yeah, it was funny actually. One of our friends, Jesse, was telling someone at this festival we played over the summer, and then she was like, you got to check out their song Highway Star. And I was like, wait, what do you mean their song? I just remember that moment so well. It was so funny. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's a cover of Deep Purple. Like, where have you been? It was so funny. But she was like, oh, I had no idea. It was cool. Very, very cool. But I love that song. I still, that whole album and those first like 4 albums from Deep Purple, it just like In Rock was the first record I ever bought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was, it's always been a huge part of our sort of upbringing, that and Sabbath and all these old school bands like that. Just killer stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Let's go track by track.
Sure.
With the record, stories, writing, recording, things like that. Anything that comes to mind.
Sure. Yeah.
So the album starts off with the most recent single, "Take Me Away."
Yeah. Yeah. So that one, that's probably the oldest song we have, I would say. I wrote that in college. The instrumentation.
At that point, were you guys the Jailbirds
No.
yet? Or so this is like
This was pre-Jailbirds.
like kind of high school Jailbirds, but not
Yeah.
Jailbirds.
Exactly.
Okay.
We hadn't had the name. We didn't come up with the name until 2015. So this would have been a couple of years before that, maybe. And it was, instrumentation was all there. It never really changed. We wrote it with it. Actually, I'm trying to remember like specific sort of instances of it, and the progression in the verse started on keyboards because our old drummer Evan, like I mentioned before, our buddy, he was an insane keyboard player, and he like played with like Jeff Healey and stuff when he was like 12. It was insane. Like he's nuts, and he's just went to Humber when he was like 10, just teaching people when he was 10. It was nuts.
It sounds like from like a story you'd hear like decades ago.
Yeah, he's
like,
from like a movie.
That doesn't sound like a thing now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Literally like a 12-year-old teaching Humber classes.
Was he also like blind or something? Like,
Yeah, he might as well have been, you know what I mean? Like he was so good at everything, man. It was like almost frustrating. It was just like he could just pick anything up, and just do it. Almost like someone like Paul McCartney or something.
Yeah.
It was just like, just stick to bass or something. You know what I mean, dude? And he just wrote that on keys one day. I had the riff and everything, and I think I came up with the chorus and all that fun stuff, but he had that weird progression, and I just sort of transposed it to the guitar, and then it just sort of created this really proggy thing, and couldn't find a place for it for a long time. It was lyrics just didn't fit with it, and it didn't really fit with a lot of our other sort of music, and it sort of stuck around until we found its place on
That's
this
a weird
EP.
verse.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the way that riff comes in, and
Yeah,
then the
it just
verse like
stops.
almost just stops.
It's
completely.
jarring,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
very jarring. That's an
Yeah.
excellent word.
It's very like, it kind of grabs your attention again.
Yeah.
I also love
Yeah.
how that first riff never happens again in the song.
Yeah,
That-
it's
I'm a
super cool.
Huge fan of that stuff. Like, I can't even think of an example right now. I think some GNR songs do that, where it's just like it happens the one time and you have to like rewind it to hear it again.
Yeah,
And it's just like,
I mean,
I
again,
love that.
if something's good, people can
Yeah.
re-listen to it. It's
Yeah.
not like they're gonna miss it and never hear it
Exactly.
again.
Just
right?
listen to it again. It's not a vinyl. You don't have to,
Yeah. You don't have to beat them to death with it. You don't
Yeah.
have to remind them about this cool thing. Like,
Totally.
let them attach themselves to it however
Totally.
much they want.
And I tried to circle back to it, but it was terrible. So it's like, no, it needs to just be the intro. But yeah, that song is pretty cool in that way. It's like I couldn't find lyrics for it for a long, long time. It was like I said, I think I had the chorus sort of like the melody and stuff, and then the verse and everything kind of came out. I had an idea of melody and stuff like that, and then that's probably the heaviest song on the record in terms of subject matter. Honestly, it's about nothing. I mean, our songs are they're not too specific about one. So it's sort of a little broader than what I write it about, if that makes sense. Because it's sort of like I don't want it to be like so laser focused on one sort of thing, because it's sort of a general feeling, really, in terms of what we write about. But this one actually, my dad actually passed away about a year ago from cancer, and this is that's what sort of inspired the lyrics to this song. And he was the best, and so it's really a song about love and loss, if you will, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, really heavy subjects and stuff. And it's sort of like the realization of because if you've ever been through that something like that, it sort of wakes you up, and it's sort of like I guess it can wake you up. It woke me up, and it just sort of was like all the stuff I was worried about before, all the anxieties that I had just don't matter. You know what I mean? And it's sort of a freeing, in a way, it's a freeing experience because it's like I feel a little bit more powerful because of it. It's like, you know, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I guess it's some element of truth to that, but that's where it came from. Is not worrying about stuff that doesn't matter anymore, you know. And it's like the first line of the song is the feeling grows inside, you know what I mean? And so it just felt like for years it was like this thing happening, and I couldn't, like, oh, how do I get out of this? And then I just sort of had that experience, and terrible, obviously, and it was the worst thing ever. And it sort of put things in perspective, and it was like, oh, okay, I've been wasting my time, you know what I mean? Because like there is an expiration date on everybody, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to live forever, and you gotta really count the moments, if that makes sense, right? And it's like that's what really the song is about. Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible, but
I could want to say I can imagine, but I can't.
Right? Yeah, so I'm glad you can. Honestly, it's not something I would wish on my worst enemy. Honestly, it was you know, anybody who's been through that stuff, it's it's brutal, but I find music is a good outlet for it, honestly. And it was like it's really sort of. I feel like it's like honoring him in a way, that song and stuff like that, because again I had so long with that instrumentation and stuff, couldn't find something for it, and then it was like I don't want to say inspired, you know, that, but it sort of did, and it's sort of like an homage to my dad, really. Yeah.
Is that also why you chose it to be the first song for the record?
Yeah, I mean, mainly we wanted to kick it off with the intro of that song with the drums
intro was
and the
very
riff.
building, but again, like that, you get to that verse, and like it's a weird way to start.
It's like a whole other song. Right? Oh yeah, I mean, it is a weird one to put on the first, but it was like the only one of the collection that sort of had that vibe, and we started, because we always do this with our EPs and stuff, where we put the songs out and we listen to them back to back and make sure they kind of flow and stuff, and there was just no other spot for it. It just didn't work between all the other tracks for some reason. It just was like too much or something like that. It's hard to explain, but I don't know if it's a tempo thing or something. But
I don't know. I don't know what goes into it.
For like, whatever
it's so
it is.
hard. Certain songs just work, and certain things that you're like certain about. Don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a big one too. Actually, sometimes even like to that same effect. Like, it's like sometimes you think a certain song is gonna do well or really resonate, and this other one is like whatever. But it's always the whatever one that's like, oh yeah, I love that song. It's like, you know, that's happened to us a few times. Yeah.
Now you said, to backtrack for a second, you said that your lyric writing is not so like pinpoint on a particular moment or idea, but more you know, a step back, looking at it in a greater sense, I guess.
Totally. Yeah.
I came to the realization this morning. I was listening to The Black River, and I was like, I don't think you guys write a lot of like narrative songs, and like that is a story, that song.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, again, kind of goes back to the cowboy thing.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it feels very Western, but it is like, that is a total story.
Yeah, Black River. Yeah.
And you know, like listening to it, I was like, oh yeah, like A, you don't hear a lot of independent bands writing like stories.
Yeah.
But then B, I was like, I don't think, like, it's weird for a band to write a story song, but then not see elements of that in other songs. Like, that's like a really interesting choice.
No, it's and that song wrote itself, actually. I remember, I love music for this. It puts me right back sitting in the chair where I wrote it, you know what I mean? Thinking of that. But yeah, that's sort of, that song was really weird how it came about. It was just like I was playing a video game or something, and one of the levels was called Black River or something, and I was like, that's cool. That's a cool name. I should write a song about that. And then it just came out on paper, you know what I mean? It just wrote itself. And that's one of the only songs I've written where it didn't need any changes or anything. And I just kind of wrote it all in one go. And it was just, here's the story, and it's like this kid, you know, gets eaten by the monster or whatever. And yeah, that it just, like I said, front to back, wrote it, melodies and all, and then I just was happy with it. You know, which is, it doesn't happen very often. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, oh, I hate this. I need to redo everything. You know, like Take Me Away. So like wrote that 50 times. You know, but Black River was all in one go. It's interesting.
Just super unique. Like a thing that I just thought of this morning listening to your stuff.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
So the second song, back to High Noon. Second song is Tokyo Smoke.
Yes.
One of my favorite songs off the record. This is a great one.
Thanks, man.
What can you tell me about
this one? This one we wrote right before we recorded it, actually, and it didn't have any words for it. So don't do that. It's not a good thing.
If you're listening to this, kids,
yeah,
don't do that.
Tip number 1: don't do that.
Songwriting with Myke Penney.
You should probably demo the whole thing first. You know, but it was, I knew, you know, if I'm happy with how the instrumentation feels, I feel like it's just like, it's easy to add a little thing here or there afterwards. But if it's all there and you can play the song without singing it and it feels good, then I feel like it's easier to write words to it or something. And I always do that. I always write the words last. Very rarely do words come first, because it's really the vibe of the song that sort of inspires the words for me.
Now, when you first started playing music, were you primarily a guitarist first?
Yeah, I was against singing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to sing.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Not interested. Didn't, you know, it's such a vulnerable thing to do, and I just didn't want any part of it. And I wanted to be like Slash, you know. So he doesn't sing, and
he hardly talks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He just smokes cigarettes or whatever. And
he's like hardly a face on stage.
He just kills it. Yeah, he got his hair in the face there, which is brilliant. I love that, because he can go to a hockey game or whatever and just put on a different hat and no one knows who it is. I love that.
I mean, it's got to be a pretty big hat, but
yeah, exactly. Hide all that hair. It's crazy. I thought that was brilliant, because like a lot of other guys don't have that option. Like you read about like Kurt Cobain or something going to a baseball game or something in the 90s there, and he just would get swarmed by people or something. And Slash never really had that, even though he's like one of the most recognizable people in rock. You know, he's on Guitar Hero and he's on all these things. He's everywhere. You know, he's all over the place. And but I was against singing, and it was my high school music teacher, Miss Denise, who pushed me to do it, because I did backups for one song. We had a guitar class, and she would put us together in groups, and okay, now you got to cover the song and do a performance and things. And my buddy Brandon and I, who, you know, we had this band together at the time in high school, and I was doing backups. I can't remember what song it was. I think it was an Alter Bridge song we were doing. Come to Life. That's what it was. That's what it was. And I was doing the backups, and she was like, "You should sing," and I was like, "No," and she was like, "No, you should." She kept pushing me over months, I'm sure, and now it's interesting. Yeah, now I can't picture not singing, but I was so against it at first, and that's probably, like you said, it's probably where my songwriting comes from. I'm primarily, I think of myself as a guitar player, and I just do all that stuff first, and then once I'm happy with that, then I move on to the next task.
And that's how Tokyo Smoke came to be.
Yep. That one was like, it just sort of, and I had the name before the Stores. I will mention that, long before the Stores. That came out later, and I was like planning on suing them. No, I'm kidding. But I should get some sort of money for it or something. And we wrote that. You know, it's that one's a little bit more specific, if you will. It's more just having a good time, you know. And it's like, I mean, it's, you know, not necessarily about smoking weed or anything, but it that definitely goes into it. It's just about whatever makes you happy, just to do that. And, you know, it could be whatever. I can't think of anything, but whatever makes you happy, do that.
Yeah,
just you know, you've only got so much time, and that's what I mean. It's like it kind of all flows together like that. Whereas like Tokyo Smoke is kind of an upbeat, happy song, but on the back of Take Me Away being more of a darker subject, but it's still in there. It's still in Tokyo Smoke, because it's all from the same perspective and all from the same character, if you will, where it's like, you've only, you know, your days are a little bit numbered there, and you should probably just do what you want to do.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good way to be about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that takes us to the third song of the record, Your Love.
Yep.
This one and Tokyo Smoke to me really feels like they go hand in hand. Like,
Totally.
musically, very blues based.
Yeah, yeah.
Very different from I think, when I was saying that The Jungle feels like a very separate project from this one.
Yeah.
These are the two songs that really make High Noon feel so different from your last records.
Okay, yeah. No, it is a whole new, I'm trying to think of the other songs on Jungle. But yeah, they're definitely, that's interesting that you say that actually, because Your Love was like, I think it was either that one or Watery Grave was like the first song we wrote as the Jailbirds. And then Tokyo Smoke, like a long time ago, like 2015, 16 era. And we played that at like every show. And it's interesting that beside Tokyo Smoke, which was written over the summer of 2019, so it's like that one was definitely more mature or whatever. But both songs, now that I'm thinking about it, really were inspired a lot by Rival Sons and bands like that. Thinking about it now, because there was a lot of Scott Holiday is just a riff master.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's just it's criminal how good he is at guitar, and it's frustrating, and it's like, he just has this such a simple way of phrasing really awesome riffs, and there's like 2 or 3 notes, which I love, you know what I mean? Because sometimes like riffs can be really complicated, which is fine too, but it's just like there's something really beautiful about the way he does it, and that really inspired me to write those 2 tracks, which I think Your Love is probably one of the simplest songs we have in terms of chords. It's just 3 chords the whole time, really the same progression until the bridge, I guess. But that verse riff is, bump, 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 fucking the easiest thing ever. Yeah. And it's just it's more about feel, which is what they're all about, and all those bands that obviously they look up to as well. But yeah, that one's pretty old, and I remember playing that one in a bar in Hamilton or something like so many years ago, and it's like a cover gig we were doing or something, and everyone's there and sitting down and having a beer or whatever, and then when we played that track, like everyone got up and started dancing right in front of us, and we were like,
a cool feeling.
Oh, we should record this one. People like it, and so I always remember that about that song. Yeah.
Now, if it goes all the way back to like 2015, like, was it that you just felt on the Black River that you wanted the band to be a little more heavier, a little harder, or was it like the song itself, you're like, maybe it's not ready? Like, what went into holding it for so long?
We sort of had that thing where we thought we didn't really have an idea. I remember Black River, we went into the studio and everything with Matt, and we had an idea, but it wasn't fully developed, if that makes sense. And then once we got the mixes back, it was like, oh, okay, this is what it's supposed to be. Matt really kind of showed us that with the production, and we were like, oh, and it was very eye-opening. And so yeah, it was heavier, and I think I was into heavier music back then too, and now it's kind of broadened a bit, which you can kind of hear in our music, I think. And it just didn't, for some reason, it was one of those songs that we didn't think much of. You know what I mean? It was like, whatever. It's so easy. It's so simple. Like, no one would like this one. And that's what we kind of thought. Although it wasn't like I said, we played it pretty much every show and stuff like that. So it wasn't like, I guess it just didn't really fit with the rest of those 4 tracks on Black River. But I don't know. We definitely planned on recording it, but I don't think it was really a super conscious decision. We just sort of had these 4 for Black River, and those 4 fit so well together. And a lot of those songs were older than Your Love, so we felt like, let's get those going, and they fit well together. But yeah, I'm happy to finally have it out, honestly. It's a good track.
It's a great one. We've talked about Sludge a little bit already, but is there anything you want to add?
That one, I've already said a couple things about it. It just feels weird
to gloss over it if we're doing a track by track,
Yeah, we should definitely touch on it. That one, I remember recording the guitars for that, and actually I'll loop in Take Me Away and Our Time all at the same time, because that one, like those other two, are drop tuned down to drop C. We usually play in D standard tuning, and some songs we drop the low, just like drop D, right?
Yep.
Same thing, but it's now C. And I remember, because tuning on guitars in the studio is just one of the most annoying things ever. You got to make sure you're in tune, and if you're not in tune, then it's not going to sound good no matter what. So really, it's something I really focus on, and painstakingly so. And I remember having at EMAC, which is where we recorded most of everything up for the EP. I remember sitting there in the control room, and we had the tuner up on the stand there in front of me, and I would have to every time I would hold that low note and let it ring out, I would have to bend the neck a little bit and watch the tuner, because it would start to go, and I would be like, okay, nope, bend it, and then just bring it back up there. And it was very like, it was actually a lot of fun for me. I like doing that kind of stuff, but it was like also at the same time super annoying, because it's just like, just stay in tune, But it's not how it works, because I hit really hard on my picking hand, and so it tends to kind of excite the note up and make it a little bit sharper, if you will, and then if I just let it ring, it's gonna drop down, and so I just would bend it back in tune. It was fun, and back then I actually used thicker strings than I do now. I've kind of refined my picking a little bit these days. I used a really thick pick back then, like a 1.14 thickness, and then the strings I was using were up to like a 56 on the low string or whatever, and so it was really good, but it was still just under the microscope you can hear that stuff. So we had to really be nitpicky with that stuff there, and now I'm down to 52, so it's a lot easier to play. It's not like piano wire.
So the album comes to a close with Our Time.
Yeah.
This was the only song that wasn't released as a single.
Yep.
Super heavy. Like, I thought Sledge was heavy, and then I heard this one. I was like, whoa.
This is like
doomsday.
This is
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Terminator.
Yeah. Super Sabbathy, super like, grungy, Soundgarden like.
It's like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like, it's sort of a mix of Sabbath and Chains and Soundgarden, and even like I hear a lot of those bands, but also there's another one that really inspired it, which I hear a lot of Alter Bridge really in that one with the vocal and stuff. And Miles Kennedy is someone that I really look to for that kind of thing, because he just phrases everything so well and really cleanly, and I love it. And especially on like AB3, that record is just mind-blowing.
Fantastic record.
Mind-blowing. Oh my God. It's just every nanosecond of that recording, right, is just perfect. And that's what would draw a lot of inspiration from those bands for that. And yeah, it's super heavy. That one was like, I remember that's an older song of ours too, actually. We've had that for quite a while. And I remember in our first jam space in a storage locker, I remember writing that and jamming it and stuff, and just having the amps all the way up and everything. And that's a fun one to do. It's a fun one to play. It's a challenge to play with the vocals and everything, but it's fun. Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song on the record?
I would say it's Our Time.
Yeah?
Yeah, that could just be because it hasn't been out yet, but
like, it's of all of them, it is the new song.
Yeah, and for me,
like
sometimes
a little bit
that's
of a novelty to that.
Exactly. It's exciting, and it might be just that, but I don't put out songs that I don't like. So
Of course.
I like all of them, but like that one, something about the way that one turned out, it just has that doomsday effect. It's like, oh, it's impending doom, if you will. You know what I mean?
Super
it's cool.
Doomy.
Yeah.
Super sludgy. Just super. Yeah.
It's like as far stoner rock as we could go without being put in that category, sort of thing. And really, it's the vocals, I think, that take it away from that, because take it away. Because if I was like screaming or something over it, it would probably change the entire dynamic
Yeah.
or something, but it's
Yeah.
you know
Or if you
super
really
clean.
like went with like a droning,
Yeah.
Sabbathy type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's more hard rock,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but with like fuzzed out guitars and stuff. Yeah.
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 Cool. It's a fantastic record. I'm so stoked for you guys that,
Thanks, man.
that it's out, that it's finally done after
Yeah.
this 5-year journey.
Yeah, it's been a while, lots of ups and downs, but here we are.
Yeah. So overall, writing, recording, right? You said that you did this in 2019, going into 2020.
Yep.
And you had mentioned that Jeff Cox had played drums on it. So I was talking to him about this, and he was saying that he came in and did the drums after most of the tracks were already laid down.
Yeah.
Which is super weird.
Super weird.
Right?
We had already recorded everything, and bunch of member changes and stuff, and you know, didn't want his performance on it. Well, okay, fine, we'll get our buddy Jeff. And it was super unorthodox. And,
Yeah,
you know, because
yeah.
you don't do that.
No.
For anybody who doesn't know, you
start with the
usually
drums.
start with the drums. You play to the drums, right? It makes it really cohesive. And very few instances of songs you might have heard before are unlike that. And if not, it's usually just all together rather than doing drums last. That seems like, even saying that, it's just like, why would you do that?
Sounds backwards.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And but Jeff was just able to lock right into it. Everything's to a click track and stuff, so it made it super easy for him to lock in.
Now, did you have like an idea of the instrumentation that you wanted for the drums going into it, or were you just kind of like, just hear the songs, do your thing?
We had the session booked, and I think the original plan was just to do sludge at the time, just to test it out or something. But he killed it in like an hour, and then we were like, okay, well, we have the rest of the day. Let's keep going.
So most of that was done on the fly too.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, I listened to it on the way here, so I'm okay. And we're like,
The
okay.
the old steering wheel practice session.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And then he was just like, I mean, I at the time, I think he had already gigged with us a couple times, so he'd probably played them maybe before. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But he just did it. Actually, one moment I remember from recording Your Love. In the second verse, there's that shuffle on the snare.
Yeah.
And that was an idea that Matt had, our producer. And he was like, I remember him, because Jeff's out there, and we're in the control room, and he gets on the talk back, and he's like, in the second verse, what if you did like sort of a shuffly kind of, it was his idea, right? But before he could even get the whole idea out, Jeff was like this, and he just did it. And it was like, yeah, that was it. And Matt was like, I'll just go home. You don't even need me. I'll just leave. And it was really funny. I remember that moment so well. The whole day was just smiles and jumping out of our seat sort of thing,
Nice.
you know, because it was just, Jeff was killing it, and he did Highway Star too. So it was like 6 songs in one day.
Yeah,
and
wow.
That includes all the setup and everything, and he just nailed it, right? It was really great. And we kept going like, well, this is easy. What the hell's going on here? And we just kept going through every song, and we got them all done. So we were just stoked about that. Obviously, Jeff's just great. Yeah.
Now, given, and we'll talk more about you as a producer in a little bit, but given that you are a producer, given that you work with bands, and like you also kind of do this stuff with your own band as well.
Yep.
Despite it being super unorthodox, is this a way of recording a song that you would ever recommend to a band? Or like maybe if they had the pieces, would you, now that you've done it, is this something that you would revisit? Or
It depends on, I would say my opinion is it all depends on how it sounds at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter, but I would suggest against it if you could do that, you know what I mean? But if you were in the situation that we were in, we didn't really have a choice, and it just happened that Jeff was able to kind of just work with it, right? And but it's unorthodox for a reason. It just usually, even Matt, I remember pitching the idea to him, and he was like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, believe me, it's gonna work, it's gonna be fine. And sure enough, it was great. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest it though. You know, if you can avoid it, do the drums first for sure, and then have your bass player play to that, and then everything else. But that's usually how it goes, just because it's the rhythm section, and you want to make sure it's really locked in. And I don't think you're really able to fully lock into the groove unless the drums are there. As a guitar player, speaking as I should say, I probably would have preferred to play his drums, but it just worked, and I was happy with it. We would listen back, we're like, yeah, okay, it's all there.
I mean, I'd never guess.
Yeah, it's
it sounds super cohesive. The drums sound refined. It doesn't sound like it's being made up on the spot.
Totally.
Right? And
yeah,
like,
and
the band feels like locked in. Like,
yeah. It's like we did it live.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what we all said. We were just like, oh.
Every detail of this story, I'm like, whoa, you guys did what?
It's
How?
nuts. Yeah,
like,
I don't even.
It's super cool.
I don't believe it that it happened, honestly. With
like that
everything.
Could have been an absolute disaster.
Exactly. It could have been. And it's kind of, I think it comes through on the EP. It's kind of like a, what do you call it? It's just sort of like a controlled chaos thing, right?
Mm.
And it just sort of like went into it. It kind of went into itself in that way, and it just sort of worked for the songs, for whatever reason. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about like a lot of your influences. Some of the bands that have come up so far, right? Rival Sons, Soundgarden, Sabbath, Deep Purple.
Yeah.
For you, because you're such a gear guy, you're such a tone guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there's anyone in Toronto playing guitar that has the tone that you have. It's just it's so curated. It's so fantastic.
Thanks, man.
Who do you look up to? Not necessarily musically, but also maybe musically. In the tone sense, your Mount Tone more, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. The first one for me that comes to mind is Slash, because that was really, well, Angus got me into guitar with Thunderstruck. I was sitting in my parents' car on the way home from, I don't know, some soccer practice or something. I don't like sports, never really did like sports. My parents were just trying to put me into curriculars, and I remember it must have been that. I was coming home. I could tell you the bridge I was on and everything. It puts me right back in that moment. And Thunderstruck came on, and within seconds I was just, I must have heard it at the time. I was like 11, I think. I must have heard it before in my life at that point, but for some reason,
like so consciously, so attentively,
it captivated me for some reason. I don't know why. It just was like I was drawn to it in that moment, and then I was like, I need to know how to do that. I don't know why this feeling came about, but it was like I just have to know how I can do that myself. And I spoke up immediately, even before the vocals came in. So we're talking like 20 seconds here, and maybe not even that. But I was just like, "Can I take guitar lessons?" And I remember them looking at each other like, what? Like, where did that come from? It was out of nowhere. It was just like AC/DC was barely on the radio. It wasn't like blasting or anything. And I was just like, I want to do that. And but then back to your question, tone-wise, what made me obsessed with tone, I think my earliest sort of instances of it was because AC/DC weren't really those types of guys. I guess they just had the Marshalls on 10, which is obviously amazing. But that was one thing. But then it was like hearing the stories about Appetite for Destruction and how they recorded the guitars on that, and that's such a legendary guitar sound.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite, and it's I don't know if you know the story, but it's like this old modded Marshall tremolo that they had or something, and it was like owned by a rental company that they rented for the studio. That's a bunch of shit. And they ended up like not returning it. It was so good, and just like trying to like, oh, we lost it. I don't know what happened to it.
No,
and
that's the amp you steal, 100%.
100%. And it was like I don't know who modded it. I think it was a Jose mod, which is like a famous guy from the 80s who started all that kind of stuff for like Steve Vai and all these people who he mod all their amps, and Eddie Van Halen, of course. What was it? He didn't return it. And the story goes, a roadie like saw that it was owned by the company and went, "Oh, I gotta return this shit," and he did it not knowing that they weren't trying to, and and then they could never find it again. So then it was just like this mythical beast of
like
an
this
amp.
total fluke that just was in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Wow.
And
No,
then
I did not know that story.
you watch the old videos of GNR like live at the Ritz or something, and I always as a kid wondered why his sound wasn't quite the same. You know what I mean?
Exceptional show.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I have it on vinyl too. It's pretty cool.
Actually?
Yeah, I found an old pressing of it.
Oh.
It's an original. They never did it again.
Oh, I'm gonna find that.
It was like $15 too. This was like 10 years ago now. It was stored in Toronto, but I was like, you don't know what you have. Start the car. It was great. I always, as a kid, was like, Slash's tone was never quite the same live. Still great, but it wasn't the same. And I was always like, why is that? And then you learn about this story, and you're like, oh, like it was largely
Amps
like this
matter.
modded amp. And yeah, absolutely. Like it comes from your hands. I'm a big believer of that. And Slash sounds great through, a fucking just a shitty practice amp. I'm sure he sounds like Slash, right? But there's something about that tone that they got on that record, and it just had that. It sounded angry, and that's what I really liked about it, and that's sort of what kicked me off into tone land. And him and Jerry Cantrell, big tone guy, obviously. I mean, if you've ever seen Chains live, their guitar tone live is ridiculous. It's crazy. Actually, my buddy John just told me, because he's toured with Alice in Chains, and he said their sound guy, I forget his name now, but he's got like a matrix or whatever just for guitars that he can like pan and level all these different mics and everything. And there's like an intricate thing that they do for their live sound. And I'm like, of course they do, because it sounds ridiculous. It's crazy
and
good
most
live.
of it's just one guitar.
Yeah, it's just Jerry most of the time. And I'm like, how do you get it to sound like this? Actually, I saw them open for Guns N' Roses in Las Vegas when they started their Not in the Lifetime tour. Had to do that because, crazy big fan. And then just mind-blowing, the guitar tones at that show. Both sides.
bands,
Slash had never
absolutely.
sounded better. I don't know what they did different. It's probably like the ISO cabs they do under the stage now, and they just crank the amps up, because he wasn't able to do that before having the cabs on stage. It was too loud. And then Jerry's tone too. Just both bands were just like, oh my God, I've never heard tones like this live. It sounds like a studio or something, right? It was insane. And I mean, obsessed with, I'm trying to think now, more guys really. It's all of them, right? I love all of it, don't get me wrong. But specifically, Slash and Jerry and Mark Tremonti, of course, from Alter Bridge and Creed and stuff. I was a big Alter Bridge fan. I never really listened to Creed when I was younger much, but I was obsessed with Alter Bridge. And his rig live, if you've ever seen those old videos, he's simplified it now, but like he used to have like 7 amps on stage or something, and it was this huge rig, and he would change and have the Fender Twins for the cleans, and he'd have 4 Mesa cabs and stuff, and they'd all have different amps and different heads switching to them and all these different things, and that's what got me obsessed with it, because I was like, his tone is ridiculous too. But lo and behold, he's reduced his rig now to just a couple amps, a couple cabs or whatever, and really simplified it for his standards, I guess. And it just still sounds like him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's still, there is a line where it's like too much. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
how many amps do I actually need? Right now,
especially on the same stage. You know what I mean? And 2 maximum, I feel, because like sometimes you get an amp and then you want something beside it that complements it and has something it doesn't have or whatever, and that's fine. I do that a lot too, but getting crazy with like 5 or 6 on stage, that just seems like way too much, unless you have like 3 guitar players, of course. But his rig and sound were just mind-blowing to me when I was younger, still to this day, of course. And guys like that. And then you start getting into, how did Tony Iommi get his tone? How did Richie Blackmore get his tone?
Just fall down the rabbit hole.
It's endless. And then you find out very surprising things about like those old like Zeppelin albums and stuff, where he just used a little 5-inch speaker on a Supro amp and stuff for most of those things. And John Paul Jones used like a little Ampeg combo. All this, they were too loud for microphones, the big amps, so couldn't use those. And That's where the tone comes from a lot of the time, is those small little guys. Richie Blackmore too, he used an AC30. Everyone thinks he used Marshalls because that's what he used live, but they just had that because the company rented it to them, and they actually hated them. They were always on stage, they were always finicking with them and everything, and making sure they were good. But yeah,
It's so cool.
yeah.
Okay, so High Noon dropped on October 25th.
Yep.
To celebrate, you guys are playing The Cave on November 8th.
Yep.
What do you have in store for that night?
It's gonna be great. That's for sure. It's we've done a pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious set list, I would say. We're gonna play the whole EP, of course, live. You know, sprinkle in some old songs, other surprises, you know, along the way too. We've got a special guest coming on stage with us, Harley Olivia. She's a really great singer from
Fantastic.
Toronto.
Yep.
She's always doing these awesome covers and everything. Obviously, her own music is really great too, and but she's just like a sort of a like a real singer, if you will. You know what I mean? She teaches and all this stuff too. And so I've always wanted to collab with her, and Kevin knows her from school, I think, or something. And so it just sort of worked out like that. And so we're going to do a song. I won't give it too much away, but we're going to do a song with her on stage. So that'll be really cool.
I almost don't want to know. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm going to be there. You're
I
saying
know.
there's going to be surprises.
I don't
like,
want to say too much.
As soon as you said ambitious, I was like, this is a stupid question. Like,
It's-
I should just go and enjoy the show.
Oh yeah, that's no, it's all good. I don't want to. I want to tell people about it, but not. You can't just say what songs you're going to play or something.
No, of course not.
But it's going to be cool. We're actually debuting a few songs from our next thing, so that'll be cool. And then there's going to be lights, and there's going to be like just create. Obviously, the bands opening and supporting the show, Waste Youth and Pink Leather Jackets. They're both excellent bands too, and so. It's gonna be a mental night, I think. There's a lot of backing behind it, which is pretty cool. It's with Moto Live and everything promoting, and so I think it's gonna be really a special evening. We've never done anything like this set. That's what I'll say. We've never even tried anything like this, and once we did it, we were like, oh shit, we really gotta it's like athletic. It's crazy. There's so much going on, and there's just like we have to really we got it all written out, and it's really cool. And we got actually one thing I will say is because like I said before, we switch between tunings a lot, mainly just the two tunings. We got the D standard and the drop C, and so in the past we would have two guitars or just tune on stage or something. But Liam and I actually installed these things called hip shots on our guitars, which allows you to just flick a little lever on your tuning peg, and it drops the tuning.
Whoa.
And then vice versa as well. It's
That's
something
cool.
that Eddie Van Halen sort of invented, I believe. I think he more so invented the one for a Floyd Rose, like
Where
he
it
calls
just
it.
holds the tuning.
Yeah, it's like a little pin in the Floyd one, and it's like, because he would do the same thing, dropping for Unchained or whatever, right? And you can't unlock your tuning thing with the Floyd, or you got the lockers, you can't be doing that. And so he just had this thing called the D-Tuna, as he called it, and it's just a little pin that's pushing on the string, I guess, and it, raises the tension, therefore the pitch, and then when you remove it, it's gone, and then you're in drop D. It's pretty cool. And same sort of idea, except it's actually on the tuning peg. And I don't know if he invented this or whatever, but he definitely inspired it, where it's like just built into the tuning peg, and it's a little like lever thing, and when you flip it up, that's your standard tuning for us. And then there's a little pin that you can kind of screw in and out to adjust the amount of release, right? And then you just flick that off, and now you're in drop. And
That's
it's like
so cool. Yeah.
it's brilliant. Like we got them, and we're like, why haven't we done this for years? Like this is so
I'm
much
like,
easier.
As you're saying this, I'm like, this is a mental note for our next band practice.
Yeah.
Like, everyone needs these.
It's brilliant,
Yeah.
dude.
Why
Like
tune on
everyone should have
stage?
them. They're like $150. You don't even need. There's no new screws. That was the thing that freaked me out. I'm like, I don't want to drill into my Explorer. But they thought of all that, and so you can just get a Grover branded one and just swap it out completely. No new screws or anything needed, no holes, which is always great.
This sounds like an ad read.
Yeah.
this
I'm getting
episode
paid
is
for
now
this?
sponsored
No.
by Grover.
But they I don't know, they just, it's a brilliant mechanism. It's
That's
just
so cool.
it's so
Yeah.
awesome, and famous users like Billy Sheehan or whatever has it on his signature bass, and Richie Kotzen, these kind of guys, they use them a lot, and that's sort of where I got the idea from. And I was like, Liam, we should do this, because there's like a couple changes where we're going from drop to standard in like a matter of seconds, right?
It also just makes like set listing so much more seamless, so much more like the possibilities are just there. Like instead of grouping these songs or like scheduling like, okay, we're going to talk to the crowd here, giving time to tune or like a drum break, whatever, like you can just like do these things that were previously impossible.
Exactly. It's freeing, because a lot of the time we would plan our set around, okay, well, we're going to go to drop, so let's play a few songs in drop and then we'll go back, right? And now that doesn't matter. So it's just, we can play whatever the hell we want. It's great. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, it's going to be killer.
It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be our best show, I think, of all time. That's for sure. It's going to play the EP, going to play some other tracks, new tracks that have never been played before. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Sweet. Same.
Yeah.
Where else are you guys playing post release show?
We have a couple things lined up. One of them, we're doing Indie Week in London, Ontario. That's on the 14th of November, and that's going to be at Seven Social, I think it's called. Sevens Social, maybe, one of those two. And I've never heard of the place, but it has like laser tag in the building, so I'm probably going to do some laser tag too. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then... what's another? I don't think we have anything else confirmed yet. There's a couple things that we're kind of looking at, but there's a couple more shows we might do for the end of the year, and then after this, we're just going to be planning our next release for next year. We want to get the ball rolling with Kevin. So we've got some drums going and bass all done, and
working on the next project.
Oh yeah, we're halfway through it already now, and we started it before I built my studio, actually. So we did the drums at Union Sound in Toronto, and that was with Kevin on drums finally, and we got 8 new tracks, some of which we're going to debut at this show. So never been performed live ever.
None of them at all?
None of them have ever been performed live. None of them even had lyrics until like last month. So, they weren't even done.
Is this also demoing without lyrics again?
Yep. I haven't learned.
Do as he says, not as he does. With that, though, that's a great segue. So you've built your own studio, Tonehenge Studios.
Yeah.
Excellent name.
Yeah, thanks,
Excellent
man.
work coming out of it.
Thanks, dude.
What was the process to make Tonehenge happen?
Well, my partner and I moved to Guelph, and that's where the studio is. It's in my house, and we were just lucky to find a place that worked for us that had a basement that was like perfect for a studio. It's like mint. And so I had Sound HQ come in and build it for me, basically, and I didn't really help build it. I just sort of told them what I wanted, and it's all like pine in the live room and everything, and painted this gorgeous walnut color, and the shape of the room. I mean, with anything with like drums or something too, it's all about the room, and so we really like tried to pay attention to like making it lively yet not too lively and stuff, because it is a basement or whatever. But so we treated it accordingly. And it turns out great. I'm getting, like, when we first did drums there, I was actually, like, so surprised at how they turned out. I was like, you know what, this is going to work. I was afraid I would have to go elsewhere for drums for all my projects and stuff, right? Because it's so important.
You really need the room.
Yeah, and there's no other element that you could say requires the room. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you can get some really cool stuff miking the room for a guitar cab or even vocals or something. Sure, that's one thing, but it's not like essential. You can sing into a microphone and just add reverb later, like most people do, and it just works really, really well for guitars and bass and stuff like that, just to do it isolated at home or whatever. But we built a whole thing, a live room and a mix room, and treated everything and got the gear in there. And yeah, I've been working with a lot of my friends' bands, your band as well, One in the Chamber, and Revive the Rose. And I've done a bunch of stuff for a lot of my friends so far, as well as some Jailbird stuff too. This record I'm talking about now, we did the drums before I built my place, and then we've done the bass now at my place, and we're gonna do everything in a row. And I was gonna say the name Tonehenge was sort of a joke at first, because at one of the sessions I did, we had a wall of amps and stuff, as I do, and I think I said I had just watched Spinal Tap or something, and I was like, "Oh, it's Tonehenge," and they were like, "That's a great name," and I was like, "You're right, I should use that," and that's how it came about. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
How did you get into production?
I went to school for it actually. I went to Fanshawe MIA program, and that was 2013, 14-ish, and it's something I've always been fascinated by. My buddy Brandon, that I've mentioned a couple of times, he and I went to the same program, and I remember in high school we saw their presentation and everything, and we were recording our own stuff in high school, and so we were all fascinated by this stuff, and ended up going, and it taught us a lot of stuff. And it's like the teachers there are incredible. You have teachers working there that are actively working in the industry, which is really important. I think
that's super, super important.
Yeah. Went to some other schools and saw their presentations, and I didn't get that same feeling that they were, you know what I mean, like actively working in the industry. And I'm like, I want to learn from someone who's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I learn from someone who doesn't do it?
Yeah.
That doesn't
or who
really
did
make
it
sense.
like 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. The game has changed so much, right? With digital recording and whatever, what have you. But it was sort of a mix of that and music business, which is why I wanted to do it. And I sort of put it down, engineering and mixing and all this stuff, for a long time, because I wanted to focus on being in a band. And then I just sort of got back into it because I've always loved it. And I've always I wanted to sort of learn from other producers and people and studios and stuff. And so over the course of my career with Jailbirds and everything else and stuff, I have sort of absorbed that information and stuff. And I was always peeking over the shoulder of everybody we were working with and stuff. And it's like, oh, how are we doing this? And like, I want to know all this stuff. I'm just fascinated by it. So naturally it just happened.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like the interest in gear and tone, like it's one thing to be able to perform that, but how do you actually capture it?
Exactly.
Like that's a whole another dimension to it.
Exactly. And when you try to do your own shit in high school in your bedroom, and you're like, why can't I get the same tone as Appetite for Destruction? Now I need to know, so it's like, that's a whole other rabbit hole, right? And then, I just like gear. I just like music in general, and it's all encompassing, really. You know what I mean? And it's just everything about it, from how you record it to how you make it, how you play it, perform it. It's all fascinating to me, and naturally just sort of happened like that. And then same with singing, like out of necessity, really. I started singing out of necessity. I sort of built my studio out of necessity as well, because I wanted to be able to record my own stuff. You obviously know it's pretty expensive to go to a lot of studios sometimes, and we have a lot of songs that we want to do and everything, and I'm a big fan of being self-proficient in that way. And I just sort of said, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself and figure this out for real. I have the knowledge, and I've learned from people I respect, and I just challenged myself to sort of do that and learn it, and learn it even more, I should say, because it's an endless, they're all endless feats, you know what I mean? Guitar playing, you're never going to be the best guitar player, you're never going to know everything, you're never going to know everything about recording or anything, right? You'll never know it all, and that's what I think I like about it, because it's so different all the time. You might learn something new, and it's not like a boring 9-to-5 job or something, where it's just the same monotonous thing every day.
Is so different.
Yeah, it's all different stuff, and you're working with different people and different gear sometimes, which is the best. And then I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, having worked with you, like, it was such a different experience, such a cool experience to just sit down and work with someone different. And,
Yeah.
we've always worked with Murray Daigle in the past, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
We love working with Murray.
Yeah.
But, like, to make a record with a peer, a friend,
Yeah.
super cool.
Absolutely. In a
And-
cabin.
Yeah, in
It
a
was
cabin.
sick.
Yeah.
It was so sick. I love that stuff.
But yeah, no, you've done fantastic work.
Thanks, man.
Now, it's one thing to produce other artists, but to actually produce your own band, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's almost an outsider perspective to being that producer, to being like, let's cut this or simplify this. Like,
Totally.
how does that work within the dynamic of the Jailbirds?
Yeah, I mean, I started co-producing on Jungle with Matt Grady, who is our producer and engineer and mixer for all of this stuff. Black River, I was just watching, I had ideas too, but like, it was his job really, because I wanted it to be, obviously, because he's really great and I wanted to learn from it. I wanted to have that outside ear. Like you said, sometimes it's really important to have a third party who's not emotionally involved with it at all. They don't care, and they can tell it to you straight, right? That's what I'm a big fan of, is like, just be honest with me. Does it suck or not? You know what I mean? Like, tell me.
Would you listen to this?
Yeah, exactly. If we can't take this home at the end of the day and crank it in the car and be happy with it, then it's not good enough. You know what I mean? And I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and re-recorded vocals and stuff because I'm like, no, it's not. And he's like, oh no, like everybody would be like, oh, it's fine. It sounds really good. I'm like, you just said it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it has to be fucking, and it has to be great. And so, yeah, like Watery Grave, I remember I went back like 2 or 3 times to do that because I was like, no, I'm not doing, I don't know what it is that I don't like, but I'm just not doing it in the way that it needs to be. And I don't know what that is yet. So it's about how do we figure that out, right? And that's just a learning curve of being a vocalist, really. But yeah, that's really where I started on Jungle, kind of co-producing and kind of overseeing stuff with Matt, and then obviously the same sessions for High Noon. So it's all sort of the same bag. And then the vocals on this whole EP I recorded at home in my studio as well. And even before I built it, I recorded some of them in my old house. But I mean, it was a long sort of learning experience, and now with all of that knowledge, I still continue to learn. Obviously, there's so much to learn, but it's just something that I love to do, and I just sort of wanted to figure out how to do our songs justice without needing that third party, right? And it's really hard, actually, because sometimes you can get really in your own head about your own music, and it's hard to sort of separate yourself.
Yeah.
But
I assume it's also very hard to be objective.
Yeah.
For the song, as opposed to what you want as a creative among a group of other creatives.
Totally.
As well, right?
Totally. Absolutely. That's exactly it. I'm lucky to be in a group with Jailbirds that Liam and Kevin are super open, and I try to be as open as I can as well, and we all do that. But sometimes you have an idea and you're like, I know this is the idea. We got to try this shit. And no one's against trying. I've been in bands before where they won't even try it. You know what I mean? You have an idea. Oh no. It's like, well, you don't even know how it sounds. How could you know? Yeah. We haven't tried it. And so that just kills creativity. You know what I mean? Just axes it right there. It's like when you're in drama class in high school and you're doing like improv, and they tell you don't say no to anything, right? It's the same concept, because you've just killed a potential pathway, right? It's like the butterfly effect, right? Ever seen that movie?
No.
Where
I know the premise, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they kill the butterfly and it ruins the world.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And you never know where something can go if you're just open to it. And I'm lucky that I've had so many teachers, from Miss Denise to, my high school teacher, to my guitar teachers, mainly Dion. He was I took lessons from him for a long time. Teachers in college. I've had so many people sort of telling me these different things in different ways, and it's stuck. You know what I mean? It's just like, just be open and try these things, and it's turned into a really like sort of self-proficient thing. Like I said before, like it's kind of like I feel more comfortable now with just being confident in I like this. I don't really need somebody else to come in and do stuff to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I started realizing on all these EPs, I don't think we made a single arrangement change. Maybe one or two small ones, but I can't really think about them honestly. Like it was mainly just producing the sound of it and getting the tones, right? But in terms of the songs and stuff, I started to realize like, okay, well, like we're not even like adjusting this part. Maybe I didn't have that confidence at the time, and I just started to think to myself, maybe I can do it by myself and figure it out. And so yeah, this next record will be exactly that.
Amazing.
Yeah, completely.
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it'll be cool. I can't wait.
So the one question that I like to close with, that I like to leave every guest with, is what would your 3 desert island albums be?
Ooh, definitely Appetite. I can listen to that one front to back any day of the week. And
Zero skips on that one.
Yeah, zero skips. Everyone says Anything Goes makes it.
If there was one to skip, sure, but I don't.
I love that one, man. I had this tech teacher in high school who would always just try to, just play games with me or whatever. It was fun. It was Mr. Masesic, and he would always be like, "Oh, it's almost a perfect album," and I'm like, "Just stop," It's nothing like British Steel or something. He would say. I'm like, what do you mean? British Steel is great, but like it's Appetite for Destruction. Come on.
Yeah.
I love British Steel.
These are not the same.
No, they're not even. It's apples and oranges. They're 2 great albums, and just to say the one, just stop. It was so fun, and that one, I'm trying to think now. I would probably do. If I'm on a desert island, I would need different vibes, wouldn't I?
You could take this question any way you wanted.
Because, you never know how you're going to feel, and then I can't change it.
Yeah.
Probably Master of Reality by Sabbath.
That's a great one, too. Yeah.
That one really was a big impact on me, and I could listen to that all day long as well. I remember just watching the vinyl spin around on that one and just, like, being mind-blown, like, what the fuck is going on? And let's pick a new one. You know what? I'm gonna say Feral Roots by Rival Sons. That one also is like a roller coaster of different things and vibes and stuff, and that's a non-skip for me. Just front to back, that album is ridiculous. It's like I don't even know, like the stars aligned for that album, man. It was just like, holy shit, it's so good. Everything about it, the tones, and like they were just so refined yet raw at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
that's a really good way of just describing their sound, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it feels very like you put them in a live room and they just explode. But it also feels very refined. It's not overindulgent.
Totally.
It's very tasteful where they, like, same thing with the drumming we were talking about earlier. It's very tasteful where they choose to play out. Yeah. And where they just like sit on this riff, sit on this groove for the song. Totally.
And actually just reminded me of a fun fact for you. I think it was Feral Roots, maybe more of their albums, but I know it's a Dave Cobb, producer for them, and Chris Stapleton and all that. And they record the vocals with the drums live, which is fascinating.
What?
Miley and Jay are performing at the same time, feet from each other.
And not like as a guide vocal, but actually recording
That's the one you hear. Yep. It's fucked.
In the same room?
In the same room. Not isolation booth. Like there's bleed. It's messed up, right? It's like, why would you do that? Well, there's the example.
That's almost as backwards as recording the drums live.
Exactly.
That's so weird. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's craziness. I heard that somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong about it being Feral Roots, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I know that they've done it. That's the important part. Like Chris Stapleton too with Dave, they do all of their stuff live off the floor.
Crazy.
And you can hear like because he's got, sometimes it's, you can hear like there's a mix with the masters thing I saw of the guy who mixed that song, and he's soloing his vocal mic, and you can hear his pick in the vocal mic, and it's left in the mix, it's in there.
Yeah.
And it's just like little things like that. It's really interesting to me. I love that shit.
It's so interesting how some artists go out of their way to scrub elements from that, and they might come out with an incredible product. Like there's no good or bad to this, but there's some artists that would hear that and be like, well, that's kind of cool. That's a little more authentic to us being in this live room.
Yep.
Right. So it's so interesting how like that's not a wrong thing. That's not an error.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's cool.
It's a style.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I love recording and music in general, is because there's no one right way to do it. Right. Yeah. And like what works for this band might not work for this other band. And I love bands who would never do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you have some bands where you're like, that's not their sound.
Yeah.
That's not how they do it. And that's what makes them awesome. Right. Yeah. But then you have a band like Rival Sons or something, and then they're very live, and it's like, but it doesn't sound like a live recording. Right. Because like, that's what it, sometimes like that, you have bands trying to do that. And it's like, it just sounds live, you know, and you don't want that. You want it to sound like a studio. I don't know where that comes from, but maybe it's like the layered guitars. I remember Butch Vig saying that, because like they had Nirvana come in for Nevermind. Yeah. I was about to say Bleach. What an idiot. And I remember like there's an interview where he told Kurt and the guys or whatever at the time, because they went, I want to do it live off the floor, and he's like, but it's just going to sound live. Yeah. And that always stuck with me, and I'm like, yeah, of course it will, because it is, right? Yeah. And it's like little things like that. People tend to overcomplicate it, I think, but yeah, cool tidbit for Feral Roots, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great selection. Yeah, those 3 records.
I could do some damage with those 3. Yeah.
All right, Myke Penney, thank you so much for joining me today. High Noon is available on all digital streaming platforms and physical copies.
We're gonna have some CDs too.
There's gonna be some CDs. You can catch them on November 8th at the Cave in Toronto with Pink Leather Jackets, Wasted Youth, and a guest appearance from Harley Olivia. It's gonna be a fantastic time as they celebrate their latest EP. Myke, thanks for joining me today on Beats by Jer. It's been a pleasure. In 2 weeks, tune in for another episode. I'm Jared Harris, and this is Beats by Jer.
Cheers.